not knowing the story of Pete Gallego, he told me that he himself had found the body of a woman who had been apparently trying to cross, curled up under one of the big bushes. And when they rolled her body over, she was holding the body of her small child. And I knew that woman had the same commitment, the same hunger to care for her child that Pete had. One happens to be in Congress, and the other happens to be dead in the desert. It is a common story of parents caring for their children. And right now we have a wave of young children coming across without parents because of violence and fear. And some in our nation want us to believe that they're aliens, they're evil, send them back. But much of it is fueled by our refusal to fix our broken immigration system, our refusal to deal with the consequence of our trade policy, our refusal to deal with the truth of our life in this world, that this global issue impacts us, and we need to fix that reality. So I do this because of faith. I do this because I am challenged to radically accept everyone, because every time I let my heart be broken open and hear a new story, I hear something new. I hear something new from Pete Gallego. I heard something new from Jason, the entrepreneur, or Robin, the clothing store worker. I hear something new from Margaret's family. Radically accepting also means that I hear something new from Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, all the people I have on my mistake of God list. As people of faith walking towards trouble, we need to embrace them too. Because what I have discovered, unless I hold them in my care, unless I, in my way of expressing it, acknowledge and love the God in them, I'm at odds with the God in me. The challenge is to be open. But then, once you're open, some people get nervous. It's too much like the 60s. A bunch of us remember the 60s. And, just do whatever you want, just don't hurt anybody. But what I've realized, though, is if we're going to walk towards trouble, if we're going to let our hearts be broken open, the reality is that we have to radically accept and fight. But too often our fighting becomes fighting against, where we get stuck pushing back and talking over and over about, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's more like a tug-of-war. That's not the kind of fighting I'm talking about. If we're going to walk towards trouble, then what we have to do is find a way to stand side by side, where we look at the problem together, where we try to define the problem with everyone's story. And if everyone's story is in the mix, we're halfway to solving that problem. Because then we can see where the commonalities are. Then we can see who's left out. Then we can invite more people in. But we have to fight for the vision, for the possibility, for the new way forward, because right now there is no vision. And in the Hebrew Scriptures it says, without a vision, the people perish. We, the people, need to create that vision through radical acceptance and fighting. So I challenge all of you to do this. And you could say, well, isn't that nice for a Catholic to say that? They're always so certain. Not really, but you know what? While radical acceptance and fighting requires action, and let me put this little plea in here, please call your representatives frequently, often in the next month until the August recess, to get Speaker Boehner to bring immigration to the floor of the House, because we have the votes. Put them on speed dial. Put them on speed dial. Call them every day. But tell your member of Congress to be a missionary. Go tell Speaker Boehner to do it. Now, I said earlier that my analysis gets to be, I get kind of exercised about this. So I'm getting to the point where I'm getting to my do it, damn it, phase. But I do this because of faith, even though I may swear occasionally. It is faith-based. It is, for me, my path has led deeply into the contemplative reality of God that is just beyond understanding. It is such a rich and fabulous gift to me, this radical acceptance and fighting, knowing that God is alive in our world. But you know what? We're a pluralistic society, as you all know really well. But we are also in our nation a pluralistic society. So I cannot expect anyone to hold my faith. But you know what? Where we meet is in the Constitution. Where we meet is in community. Where we meet is in the first three words of the Constitution, which is, we the people. It is an unpatriotic lie that we're based in individualism, and we have got to cut it out. It's we the people. It is we, the people, who are going to lead us out of this wilderness. It is we, the people, that are going to give a backbone to Speaker Boehner and the rest of the House. It's we, the people, that are going to make something happen, because it's we, the people, that can create the vision. It is true that without a vision, the people perish. But my friends, you are a vision. You are people committed to the 100%. You are committed to opening your hearts, to walking towards trouble, to making a difference. So I urge you to do a few specific actions. In the Constitution, where we meet, I'd like to encourage you to grocery store missionary work. I talked a little bit about this earlier, but what you need to do is this. It's very simple. Talk to folks you don't know about stuff that matters. Not just about the World Cup or about baseball or football. We have to begin talking again about important issues. So what I do is, standing in line at the grocery store, because I don't stand in line many places very often, is I'll say to the person behind me or in front of me, hey, have you thought about this effort to raise the minimum wage? What do you think? Have you thought about immigration reform? Just pick one. What do you think? And what I have discovered is people have thought about it, but nobody ever asks them. And they're quite surprised, but they have something important to say. If we are serious about walking towards trouble and opening our hearts to hearing the deeper story, we've got to have these conversations about serious stuff. We have to have conversations about our values, about what really matters to us as a nation. We have to walk towards community and away from the unpatriotic lie of individualism. And what I have discovered is that when you walk towards community, we become deeply aware of the truth that we're in this together, that we are not separate, that there is no real discernible difference when you get right down to it. Everyone is like Pete Gallego and the woman who died in the desert. Everyone's like Margaret. Everyone's like Robin. Everyone's like Jason. We may have different stories to tell, but it's the same hunger, the same desire, the same passion to make a difference in our world, to care for family, to be who we are called to be. And so I have come to know, in my little limited experience, that it is the divine that hums us all the time, hums each one of us. I think of God as the hum of the universe that's holding us together in a loving embrace. That's how I experience it. But when I'm separated by myself, I lose touch with that deeper reality. Where we are called to make this vision is community. Hope is a communal virtue that we only know together. And it's in that light, it is in that quest for hope together that we get surprised. If you walk towards trouble, you'll have a lot of people walking with you if you do it together. And that is the way it can be done. As I know, we will not be left orphaned. If you walk towards trouble, it's a vibrant life of faith and treasured doubt. If you walk towards trouble, all you have to do is do your best. It's enough. Because in community, it all gets covered. And so to conclude, I want to end with one of my poems because this is what it says it for me. And I wrote it on the last night in Baghdad in 2002. Don't you love just being able to say that? Yeah, so it was our last night in Baghdad. Before we invaded, I went on a small peace delegation, and our last night in Baghdad, we went to an Italian restaurant. And when we came back, there was a wedding party in the light on the sidewalk, in the light from the plate glass window. And in that light, there was this violin and this accordion, and this people were dancing. It was wonderful, and we stood around. There were 11 of us, and we stood around, and then they drew us in to dance. And this man next to me, who's trying to show me how to do this folk dance, leans over and says to me, "How long do my niece and her new husband have to live in peace? How long until you start bombing us?" It is this poem that was given that night. And this is all about why we have to walk towards trouble. And it's called Incarnation. And it goes like this. Let gratitude be the beat of your heart, pounding Baghdad rhythms, circulating memories, meaning of this journey. Let resolve flow in our veins, fueled by Basra's destitution, risking reflective action in a 15-second world. Let compassion be our hands, reaching to be with each other, all others, to touch, hold, heal this fractured world. Let wisdom be our feet, bringing us to the crying need, to friends or foe, to share this body's blood. Let love be our eyes, that we might see the beauty, see the dream, lurking in the shadows of despair and dread. And let community be our body warmth, radiating Arab energy to welcome in the foreign stranger, even the ones who wage this war. And let us remember on drear, distant days, we are a promised Christmas joy. We live as one, this fragile, gifted life, for we are the body of God. Thank you so much.
tell them about your book.
Okay, yeah.
You know, this year's public witness event is about walking toward trouble at Waterfire. What a perfect message for us tonight. So later on, we get to do it. Yes. To quote you, damn it. And before that, Sister Simone will be signing copies of her book, A Nun on the Bus, but that will only occur if we allow her to get out into the entry area of the dunk. So once again, thank you so very much for that message.